as a fully remote company, how did some of those physical access controls come into play in a dibcac audit or C3PA audit?
So funny you should ask. We are 100% cloud. We don't let people print. Only one person gets to print. That's the accountant, because there's checks and things that have to be paper for banks, right? But beyond that, nobody prints. And everybody's on board. It took a while, but everybody's on board now. So yes, we're like you. But we have a printer. That meant dibcac was coming on site. And they were very interested in that printer. I'm telling you. They wanted to know who could print from it. I said, everybody. Their eyes got big. They said, well, how do you control that? Well, it's in a building that we control access to. Everybody's got their pass cards. And then it's in this person's office that she has a key to. And then if they were to print something, and it is CUI, and she's going to get it, and she's going to call me and say, somebody printed CUI. And then the investigation begins, and, you know. But I'm not going to stop everybody from printing everything, because sometimes somebody does have a valid, legitimate need to print something, right? So I've got a human control mechanism there that screens, what did you print? Is it this? Where is it going? And does it need to be referred to either the FSO or the CUI PM? And they're like, really? And then they went out of the room and they asked our COO what he did when he printed CUI, and he said, I don't print CUI. And they came back in all unhappy. But no kidding, they were very interested in how so a printer in a public space that everybody could print to would not have been an answer, an acceptable one, unless you could explain, oh, well, I control it by pin code. You got to have something, but you have to know your process well enough to explain, here it is in writing, we don't print. Exceptions can be made, because sometimes a customer will say, send us your proposal that's CUI on a CD. Now you have to create CUI. And they get all excited about that. How do you control that? You have to explain it all. But the truth is, as long as you can lock up that device and show how that device is controlled, the end item, and like with a VDI, that would take that off the board too. But all of your data, if it's CUI and there's no hard copies anywhere, it's in Azure. So your physical premises, depending on how you do things, could be taken completely out of scope, because if the data is in Azure and you can't print it locally, what are we securing?
So for us, as ours is in the enclave, we inherited a bunch of controls from Microsoft. So that really did help us out a lot. They don't like to see where it is, you know, you've got your met, your not met, and not applicable, right? So they don't like to see a ton of not applicable. So we are meeting it because we inherit that from Microsoft. So Microsoft has a ton of information about how they meet those controls out there. They've got baselines and all out there. And so take that, put that in your SSP, put that in your implementation details, have all of that outlined. No, we don't do this, but this is what Microsoft does on their end.
Yeah, so don't use NA, because NA actually requires that you've had approval from a DoD entity that it doesn't apply. So in our case, VoIP. I don't want to do VoIP. I just don't want to do it. So we're not doing it by policy. Therefore, I controlled it. So I can't lose CUI because I'm not allowing this to happen. And I said, it's not that it's NA, it's that I controlled it by policy. And dibcac walked away, okay,